Hey guys, it's RockTheGolem, and no, this is not Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, this is actually 1. I'm recording this on October 27th, which is the day before Xenoverse 2 comes out on Steam, which I am very upset about. Not so much because it's coming out on the 28th. You know, I understand why game developers want to push release dates back for PC and things like that. I'm actually upset because I had arranged it to have the day off on the 25th, which was the day that I thought Xenoverse 2 was supposed to be released, and it was. For everything other than the PC. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that until the 25th had come and was almost gone, and I actually looked online and be like, what the hell, why isn't Steam letting me put my game on my computer so I can start to play and record? So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do anything because I didn't have the game, so I couldn't do anything. So what I'm doing now is I'm just showing you my character again from Xenoverse 1 for two reasons. One, because the Xenoverse playthrough is actually on my other channel, what is now my voice acting channel, and I guess technically still considered my main channel because I do have more subscribers over there than I do here. So the Xenoverse 2 playthrough is going to be on this channel, so there are no videos regarding that playthrough here on this channel just yet. So this is why I wanted to do a quick little video just showing you my character again from before. And also I wanted to talk to you about the things that you can expect. Oh, hello, Aiko. That you can expect from the Xenoverse 2 playthrough that I will be doing on this channel. I'm actually going to address a couple of things that people have talked to me about or messaged me about, questions that they've asked, and even criticisms that I've received. Undead, I'm not moving for you. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's see if we can bring up some of my stats here real quick. Play data. As you can see from my past actions, I am a very melee-heavy character. If you look over here, my melee attacks literally make up 88% of everything that I throw at people. The next highest is 5% with Ki Blast usage. I apparently have never done any melee skills, which is interesting. I thought I had those. No throws, no evasive skills, which I'm kind of disappointed in myself about. And also no boost transformations, because the only one that I had, I think, was the Kaioken, and because my ki level was so low, that I didn't have any real time to utilize it properly, and I was using more of the poses from the Ginyu Force than anything. But this also goes to show you that I'm not a very defensive fighter either. I like to run in, get close, I love to mix it up, and I love to actually, you know, get at my opponent with my fists and my feet, I guess you could say. You can also see that it's been quite a long time since I've played. Pretty much once I've finished the playthrough, I kind of stopped playing because I went on to the next game. I haven't even unlocked a good portion of these masters, let alone actually trained with them. And it looks like my rank is F, I'm not sure what that means, and I'm not even max level on this character, so there's a lot I haven't done with this guy. And as you can see, even from my attributes, I am not a big ki user. Again, I like getting up close and personal, I like mixing it up, you know, throwing out actual blows as opposed to using like ki energy attacks. And that's actually one of the main reasons why I enjoyed playing a human. Even the equipment that I run with right now is geared specifically toward being melee based. It's basically the best that I could get that would allow me to customize my character while still going as far into stamina, basic attack, and super strikes as I possibly could. Everything maxed those out and even completely killed my Ki Blast supers while not touching my health and my ki. The Scouter and the Z-Soul. The Z-Soul, I'll be talking about in a little bit, because this is one of my favorite things about my character, and one thing that I feel like I might have gotten some flack for. Not so much the Z-Soul, but in another thing, but I'll talk about that in a second. So that's basically the rundown of my first Xenoverse characters. So, what's going to happen in Xenoverse 2? Well, I haven't really been watching any videos on Xenoverse 2, and the reason being is because when it comes to me doing a Let's Play, I don't like to look at what anyone else does. A good example is I'm doing the Batman Telltale series right now, and I know Jacksepticeye has already blitzed through every chapter like the day that it comes out. I don't watch his stuff until I've recorded up to where I know he is as well, which means once I finish the chapter, then I'll watch what he does, because I don't want anything that he did or anything that I saw to subconsciously influence what I've done. Oh, thank you very much, Manette. It's actually one of the reasons why I got a lot of compliments on my Life is Strange playthrough, the fact that I was one of the few Let's Players that was actually able to save Kate when she was up on the roof, because I took so much time to go through and, you know, pick through little bits of information that people had in their rooms and whatnot. Like I figured out in my head how to save Kate, because the choices that they gave, it was kind of like very unclear which choice would save her, but from the information I had gathered, I knew which choice would give me what I thought was the best outcome. Keoka, that's mean. Don't push people around. So a lot of people, because they didn't go through and play that way, weren't able to save her, but because of the way I play and because no other person influenced me, I was able to realize that, oh, like, this is what I should do. And during the Let's Play itself, it might have come across as a little boring, and if it did, I do apologize for that, but ultimately it resulted in a better outcome for the play itself. One thing I do know about Xenoverse 2, though, is that we are able to upload a single character from Xenoverse 1 and make that be like the hero of Toki Toki City that our new character in Xenoverse 2 is, I guess you could say, inspired by. And I heard there's going to be either like a hologram projected of this character, so the character you see on screen right now, RockTheGolem, or a statue or something like that. Like their presence somehow will be felt in Xenoverse 2 once this game save is uploaded. So yes, this is the character I'm going to upload. That raising the question, what other characters did I have? Well, let me show you. So here you have my main human character, which again, as I said, is the one that I'm going to be uploading. I did dabble around in some other characters as well. I made I was going to say a Saiyan because I'm staring at his armor and he does have a tail, but this is actually a Namekian. I did make a Saiyan, I made a Frieza character, and I made a Majin character. So I did have one of every race, even though I didn't do pretty much anything with the Frieza race and with the Majins. But that's okay. I did fashion my Majin after the blue slime from Dragon Quest, which Akira Toriyama is also famous for. So I think he's kind of cute. I like him. I like the eyes on this thing. But anyway, sorry, I digress. So one of the things I haven't done yet, because again, I don't want it to influence my decision in Xenoverse 2, is I haven't really looked at the races for number 2, but I do have some experience with the races of 1 because of the characters that I've made. So when I first did my playthrough, I actually got both complimented and criticized for the fact that I was playing an Earthling. Some people thought it was pretty awesome because no one else seemed to have been playing an Earthling. They always picked some other race, and typically they picked Saiyan. I wanted to play an Earthling for a couple of different reasons. So first and foremost, every time I go to create a new character in a game that allows me to customize them, I try to make them as close to me, or at least my idealized version of me, as possible. So first and foremost, I'm not a Majin, I'm not a Saiyan, a Namekian, or a member of the Frieza race. I am an Earthling. So that is obviously the direction I would go, and I would pick male over female because, you know, some people might argue against this, but I am a man. But more so than that, there are a couple of other reasons why I didn't go with any of the other races. The Namekians I thought would be a fun race to play as, and someone actually did suggest that I play as them. The health regen when low from the Namekians definitely did appeal to me because I like creating characters that have a certain aspect of survivability to them. But they have low attack, which is something that I was very interested in having for my character, and in addition, I'm not a big item user, and I'll get into that in a minute, so the fact that items are more effective on Namekians, while it's good for that race, didn't appeal to me. The Frieza race didn't appeal to me either, once again because of the low attack, but also because the whole thing about fast speed. Fast speed's nice and everything, but I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3" and I'm built like a freaking tank. So having a smaller, faster character like that, again, didn't really appeal to what it is that I was trying to do for my character. The speed bonus to HP when low is kind of cool. I'll talk about Saiyans in just a second, because trust me, I do not like this race at all, which is a big factor as to why I didn't play as them, but I'll talk about that in a second. So the Majins seemed like a more tankier style race, which was, you know, good. I like tankier classes, I guess you could say. But I don't enjoy playing as a tank when it comes to MMOs. I'm very much either a DPS or healer type person. Plus on top of it, I knew that my friend Nikuru-chan18 was definitely going to go for the female Majins, and she did, even though she didn't do a Let's Play of it. So I kind of wanted to stay away from this race, but the other reason being is that because, and this is kind of cool, I like the fact that they actually have different stats for the male and the female as well, but it seemed like it was either going to be your tanky version was you being a meat shield, or it was going to be a dodge tank, based on these stats. And again, it wasn't something that really kind of appealed to me at the time, so human was where I wanted to go. Now let's get into the Saiyans. These guys piss the hell out of me. And don't get me wrong, like, I love Vegeta, I love Goku, I love all the Saiyans. I think Broly is probably my favorite Saiyan of all time. But I have a huge issue with the way that the Saiyans play inside of Xenoverse. And that's that all you have to do is get the Super Saiyan form, no matter what level it is, turn into a Super Saiyan, and then all you have to do is just spam your ultimate attack over and over and over again. And as long as you can maintain that form and keep yourself as a Super Saiyan, you can just unload your ultimate attack as much as you want, and that's it. Like, that's the game. That's all you have to do. That to me is incredibly cheap and is incredibly boring. There's no action, it's just a bunch of flashy cutscenes, and it annoys the hell out of me because I've played online against people that all they do is just spam their ultimate attack. Plus, on top of everything else, I guess you could say that as a fan of Dragon Ball Z, I know that there's a certain, I guess you could say, elitist quality to being a Saiyan. Like, there are only a handful of Saiyans. There's Goku, there's Vegeta, well, I guess you got, Nappa and Raditz who are dead, Broly who's also dead, Turles who is dead, Bardock is dead, whatever. There are very few full-blooded Saiyans. So the fact that, as a time patroller, Trunks wanted, Shenron to summon a hero that could help, I guess some people could say, oh, well, Shenron created a new Saiyan because that's what it took. But the flip side of that is that in the canon of Dragon Ball Z, as far as I'm aware, I haven't watched a whole lot of Super, so I don't know how that's going to go. But eventually the Saiyans are going to die out. I mean, you would think. Eventually time is going to progress, Goku and Vegeta are going to get so old that they'll die, and as generations go by, the bloodline will be diluted so much that the Saiyan blood is going to be so thin in everyone. And again, I haven't done any research on this. This is just what I feel is going to happen, timeline-wise, if this world were to continue on, that eventually the Earthlings are really going to be all that's left. And yeah, there will be some Saiyan blood in them, and I guess some people could argue that the reason why, if you played an Earthling in Xenoverse, that why he was so strong is maybe he's got that hint of Saiyan blood in him. And the funny thing is, being as a big a fan of Melee as I am, the ideal for me probably would have been actually going as a male Saiyan, because they have the strongest melee attacks in the game. And again, because their super moves aren't that strong, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But again, my ideal after going through all that stuff, and again, the overlying theme is the fact that I wanted my character to be me, is, my Dragon Ball Z version of me. Male human was definitely the direction that I had to go. So, having learned all that about my playthrough, and knowing the fact that I'm not a huge fan of the Saiyan race, you guys can expect that my new Time Patroller is going to be a male human as well. Unless they made some changes to the races that really do kind of appeal to me, and taken away that whole spamming the ultimate move for Saiyans, that's probably what's going to end up happening. Now, some people have asked me to do a playthrough as a Saiyan before, but I'm not going to do that. For the very reason that I mentioned before, because I do not like the Saiyans. A couple of other things that I wanted to touch on really quick. I've gotten some feedback from people, and not all of it has been very friendly. In fact, some of it has actually been downright insulting and so trollish that I've actually gone ahead and had to block people from commenting on my channels, which I don't like to do. I want to keep the community as, positive as possible, but if people push me to that point, then unfortunately I have to take action. So that's just what it's going to have to be. So people criticize me about the fact that during some of my fights, once I have an opponent down on the ground, I would shoot ki blasts at them and they didn't do anything, and I would do it continuously, or I would just run up and throw a quick strike or whatever, knowing, and the thing is, I knew that it wouldn't affect them, because once an opponent's on the ground, the game doesn't let you hit them anymore. And I understand that completely. From, a fighting point of view, or from a Dragon Ball Z point of view, when your opponent's on the ground, you capitalize on it. Like, how many times have you seen Vegeta knock someone into the ground, and then just unload a flurry of energy blast at them while they're, pinned, essentially, up against the dirt? It's not because I thought it was gonna do me any good. It was because I didn't want to just sit there and wait for my opponent to stand up. This is a playthrough that I'm trying to entertain you guys with and have continuous action for you people to see. Not only did it give me something to do while I'm waiting as opposed to just holding the controller and doing nothing at all, but it at least gave the people watching the playthrough something to look at. I was aware that it wasn't going to do any good to, unload a stream of energy blasts at them, and let's face it, my character wasn't set up to do any real damage that way anyway. I did it because I was just trying to make it entertaining more so for you guys, but also so that I myself wasn't just sitting there doing nothing, boring myself, as well as boring you. So I probably will continue to do stupid little things like that, just because I feel like it'll be a little more entertaining to watch. The other thing you can come to expect from me is that and again, this is something that someone was very insulting over, I don't use healing items. I don't really use items to begin with. And the reason being is because, again, me being as big a fan of Dragon Ball Z as I am, I feel like that's cheating. Like, it's cheapening the experience of being, a Time Patroller / Z fighter. Like, think about it. When did the Z fighters use Senzu beans? They used them after the fight, when they were no longer the ones who were going to be jumping into the fray, when they need to recover between fights, not during the middle of the fight. The closest that ever came was Goku giving a Senzu bean to Cell because he wanted Cell to fight Gohan at his peak performance, not because he was tired because he had just finished fighting Goku. To me, using a healing item is a cheap way of trying to beat an opponent that's stronger than you. To me, it's much better, and again, this goes along with the Dragon Ball mentality, to get yourself to a point where you're skilled enough and reactive enough that you can take on a stronger enemy and still be able to pull off a win. And that's why I don't use healing items. Now, as I mentioned before, I do need to talk about the I bet you do, Krivari. I don't even know what it is, and I want to do it too. I mentioned before in this video that I was going to comment on my Z-Soul, and let me bring it up real quick, just in case you guys don't remember what it is. So this is my favorite Z-Soul. I am neither Kami nor Piccolo now. Basically, not only does it increase all of my stats across the board, but when my ki is at its max, health slowly recovers. The stamina being at max with the auto guard, it was kind of awesome. It wasn't that big of a deal because my character pissed through his stamina. He had a lot of it, but he used it constantly. He, however, had very little ki and didn't use it for anything really, unless I just wanted to goof around and throw off a special ability. So what would happen is my character was almost constantly regenerating his health. Now, to me, regeneration is not the same thing as using a healing item. There are characters who have regenerated in the middle of a battle, and again, I'm going to use Cell as the perfect example. Piccolo always seems to wait until after a fight to regenerate a lost limb or whatever, or the closest he's come is when he was fighting Cell in his first form, and he was distracting him long enough to gather the energy that he needed to regenerate a limb. But Cell himself has regenerated in the middle of a battle after having like half of his body blown off. We've seen him lose his entire upper half. He himself has self-destructed, and I guess you could say that was the end of the fight, but the fight continued as soon as his body came back. So to me, having the natural ability to regenerate your health without using an item doesn't feel like cheating the same way that using a healing item or a Senzu bean would in the middle of the fight because you're not good enough. Yes, the regeneration gives you a little bit of edge, but as I mentioned before, I've always been a big fan of having characters that have at least a little bit of survivability integrated into them. So I wanted to stay away from healing items, but having the ability to regenerate is something that did appeal to me, which is why I had that. And if they have anything like that, why do people keep trying to run into me and push me? I don't get it. But if they do have something like that in Xenoverse 2, you can better believe I'm going to be shooting for it. So I think that was really all that I wanted to comment on. So as I mentioned before, coming up, I'm going to be making another human Time Patroller. You can... different color scheme. I try to stick with the blue and gray of my first channel, but me personally, my favorite colors have always been black and red. Funny story, the reason why I went with the blue and gray for my initial channel was because I needed an icon to kind of represent myself, and voice acting wise, I had always been connected to Mori from Ouran High School Host Club. And what I had done to try to, actually at the time I was screwing around with Paint Tool Psy, just to kind of like get a feel for how the program worked. And what I did is I created a new outline for a picture of Mori that I found and recolored him to actually have a suit that I owned, which was a gray suit with a blue shirt. So that just kind of stuck because I liked the way it turned out, and it became, I guess you could say, my icon for a while, and then that just kind of translated over to my channel, and for the longest time, even still now, that channel has always had that gray and blue color theme. With my gaming channel, though, I wanted it to represent more so me than that character or the RockTheGolem persona that I created for it. So I'm actually going to be going with a darker black and red. Hopefully, like, because you can see some of the characters standing around me, they have other, you know, it's not just the two-tone thing that I have going on. They do have other parts of their costume that allow for more color. If there are ones that coincide with the stats that I'm looking for where I can throw more color into it, I will. But those are going to be the two main themes. So that's what you can expect to see from me in Xenoverse 2 coming up. It does release tomorrow for me, thankfully, but I have to work, and then I'm going to be going over to my friend's place to play Dungeons & Dragons. Yes, I am that much of a geek. Don't judge me, I love it. But anyway, so that's going to do it for this video, guys. I look forward to seeing you all in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Let's Play. For those of you who were on the initial channel and enjoyed it so much, I hope you come back to see it. And if you enjoy it, please spread the word. The more people that know about this channel, the faster it's going to grow, and the more feedback I can get, so the better I can make the channel for everyone that wants to see it. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked what you've seen and heard, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And having said all that, I will see you all on the other side. Take care.